Hi, this is Keith Ward with Visual Studio Magazine, and joining me now was today's keynoter, Jay Schmelzer with Microsoft. Jay, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so you just finished your keynote presentation. Can you give us sort of a high-level overview of some of the main things that you discussed there?
Sure. I mean, I think the big messages this morning were really around the fact that for application developers today, it's a multi-device world, right? Their end users are bringing their own devices, their personal devices into the organization, expecting the apps they work with all day long to be available on those devices with experiences that feel like they fit with the device, right? And that's just a new thing for folks to deal with. The second part of the message was how the influence of services and the ability to leverage the cloud or just build services as part of supporting these disparate applications, these different devices, is actually a pattern that we see as a way people can be successful with that.
Okay, so for a .NET developer, let's ask this way, what does .NET offer these developers in the bring your own device world that we now live in?
So I think one of the key things is still that same value prop of .NET for a developer, in that you have a consistent set of skills that you can now apply in the service world as well as in the device world. So if you're a VB or C# developer and you're building a native application for Windows or the Windows Phone, you have an experience there with XAML and the managed languages in the CLR to go and create that application. Those same skills can carry over to the back-end services that you need to write to support those applications. As far as the other device types, you have iOS and Android. We've got a number of partners out there that are creating experiences for VB and C# developers to go build native applications in C# for those devices as well. So you can apply the skill set across all of it.
Okay, and as the IDE that most of our readers use, how does Visual Studio help these developers build across all devices? What are some of the reasons you want to be using Visual Studio?
Well, Visual Studio is clearly the premier development experience and development environment for .NET CLR and managed code developers. We have a number of technologies that we've introduced as part of the framework, the concept of portable class libraries that allow you to go and create a code artifact, an assembly that can actually be executed both on the full desktop version of the CLR, the device versions of the framework, as well as the stuff running on the server. So you can get better code reuse through techniques like that. And then, of course, the richness of the application lifecycle management tools as part of Visual Studio. So building the application is one thing, but actually getting it and moving it through the various stages of its life into testing, into production, are the next battle that developers face, and Visual Studio provides a great, complete solution for all of that.
Okay. So what are you hearing from developers that they really want now? What are the things that they need to develop these modern apps?
I mean, I'd say one of the things that I hear quite a bit is just the need to be reassured that and feel confident that the technologies of the .NET framework and CLR are things that we are continuing to invest in, which we are. It's a big part of my team. It's a big focus for us. That is a place where we've got millions and millions of customers building applications today, and we know and we want to help them modernize those for these new experiences and new devices. And the best way to do that is leverage what they've got, and that's the .NET framework.
Okay. An example of that, of course, is JavaScript now, that is now inside the IDE where it was formerly on the outside.
Yep. So yes. So for folks that want to go and build rich web experiences, we've got that great JavaScript development and debugging experience right inside Visual Studio now. And it's actually a big chunk of those experiences are common and consistent between the tools you get via F12 in Internet Explorer and what you get inside of Visual Studio, the environment. So we're also trying to make that a consistent experience for folks.
Okay, in terms of Windows Phone development now, talk about that a little bit and what developers are doing with that, and what how that is coming together now. Obviously, building the ecosystem is a critical factor for Microsoft. You need apps for Windows Phone really to take off.
Yeah, we definitely need apps, and we know that there's two aspects to it. We need apps. People look at the total numbers, and so that's an important thing. We also need the right apps, right? Most folks, I know myself included, right? Okay, the number of apps available is interesting, but not as interesting as the 10, 15, 20 apps that I really care about being interesting. So that's a major focus, is to ensure we have the right apps for folks. For developers, again, it's that consistency of experience. We want to make it productive for you to quickly get your phone app built, using the skills and techniques that you're familiar with.
So let's peer into the future a little bit. I don't know how much you can say, of course, but is there anything you can say to developers wondering what Microsoft is going to say about Windows Blue at, say, the upcoming Build conference? That's shortly. Is there anything? I mean, for instance, are they going to have to throw out what they're doing now? Or do you see Blue as an evolution, or is there anything really at this point that you can mention about it?
There's really not a lot other than if you're going to build, you'll learn a lot more. If you weren't able to attend, then we'll have a lot of it available on the web, and you'll get a lot of the message. But I think it's pretty safe to look at the past to get a bit of an indication of our future. I mean, at Microsoft, we know we have a lot of applications that have been built that deployed to our platforms, whether it's Windows, whether it's Office, and we take compatibility very seriously, right? So, being confident that the investments you've made will continue forward, I think, is a pretty safe thing, just looking at our history of how we focus on those things.
Okay, so no information about the start button, right, Jay? Come on.
Not from me.
Jay Schmelzer, Microsoft, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.